I started feeling very boring by the end of the week. I just felt like all of my decisions were so basic and so average. I had it decide my haircut, and it chose you guys can kind of see it, like a textured bob. It's just like a really basic haircut.
Casey, I, for one, would appreciate a palate cleanser after that last segment that has nothing to do with politics or the election. And luckily, we have one, courtesy of my colleague, Kashmir Hill.
Yes, she recently did an experiment with artificial intelligence that is right up our alley, Kevin.
Yes, the story that she wrote is called I Took a Decision Holiday and Put AI in Charge of My Life. Basically, recently for a week, she turned over all decision-making in her life over to generative AI, including what to eat, what to wear, her schedule, her new haircut, everything. And what came out of this was just a really interesting look at what these tools can do for us and with us right now, where they might be helpful in going about our day-to-day lives and where they might not be so helpful. So let's bring in Cash to tell us all about her experiment and what she learned. Kashmir Hill, welcome back to Hard Fork.
Great to be here.
So how'd you set up this experiment? How were you actually going about trying to have it make decisions for you? Were you just sort of narrating your day out loud to these chatbots, or just tell us about how the experiment actually worked?
So I did some research, like what are the tools I could use, and I made this Excel spreadsheet of all the many apps and products out there that are touting generative AI, like generative AI to parent, generative AI for fashion, generative AI for remodeling. And I made this big list of all these different apps, and I downloaded them, and I bought Meta Ray-Ban glasses, and I thought I would use all these different products. But at the end of the day, I just mostly ended up using ChatGPT because it was the best and the most flexible. Basically, ChatGPT and Claude were the winners of all the assistants I tried.
And give us a flavor of some of the kinds of decisions that you outsource.
So I did this for a week, and I started with buy our groceries. Tell us what to buy this week. What groceries should we have? Plan our meals. What should I do with my kids? Where should we go on vacation? How should I cut my hair? What color should I paint my office? Something I've been wanting to do for about 2 years now, and I was stuck because I couldn't decide on the new color. So I had AI decide for me. But yeah, I was trying to really use it in all ways and all parts of my day.
Yeah. I mean, what's interesting about this experiment to me is obviously it's a great stunt and shows some of what this technology is capable of and not capable of today. But it also, people in AI are very convinced that very shortly we will all have AI agents going around doing things on our behalf. And right now, the way you set up this experiment, you still had to kind of execute the things. It could tell you which groceries to buy, but it couldn't actually go out and buy them for you. But pretty soon, the AIs will be able to do that. And so it's just sort of a preview of where the AI agents are going.
Yeah, right now I'm kind of the agent of the AI. It's telling me what to do, but it definitely was easy to imagine this becoming much more independent. What was kind of funny to me is when I was interviewing experts about this, including people at, OpenAI and at Anthropic, they seemed kind of horrified that I would put my life and my family's life in the hands of their chatbots. Which I just thought was interesting because I think that's what they're trying to build, towards this general intelligence. And yet they're like, really? You did that?
Cash, how did your family respond to you outsourcing your life to AI for a week?
It started with my husband wanted to know if he could go golfing with a friend. And I was like, okay, let me ask the AI assistants, and they said yes, and so it was great, this is good for me. It was actually really funny. They're like, it's good for your relationship to support your partner's interests. My daughters really liked advanced voice mode from ChatGPT, which is their kind of her assistant. They had a lot of fun with it. It felt very futuristic to them. They could ask it endless questions. My 4-year-old was asking it, why do trees have leaves? Why do birds fly? Why do computers have screens? And just on and on and on. It It never says, like, "Go away," like a parent might do, or "I'm sick of answering your question." So they really liked it, and they thought it should have a name. And their first suggestion was Captain Poophead, and they were making all these other similar kinds of suggestions, and then it chimed in because it listens while you're talking, and it said, "How about Spark?" You know, it's creative and fun, just like your energy. And so it became Spark. And to this day, my daughters are asking to talk to Sparks. They want Sparks on the family iPad so they can keep talking to it.
Wow. So did you give this chatbot or Spark any information about yourself? Like, because part of the appeal of these tools is they can sort of get to know you over time. Theoretically, you can give them kind of access to data. They can kind of store things about you in their sort of long-term memory. Did you feel at any point like this AI was starting to know you and anticipate what kinds of decisions you might make?
So I tried to approach this very much like a basic user, like somebody who has not been following things would do it. So I really just came to these tools like a normal consumer would. And I said, "Hey, I'm a journalist doing an experiment of outsourcing all my decision making to AI. Will you help me?" At least with the chatbots. And they all said yes, except for Claude, which has said that's a bad idea. You shouldn't give AI that much control over your life. I don't really want to help you with this, though it would still answer my questions when I pose them. And then other than that, it was just kind of learning about us over time. And it did start to know things. Like it would know my daughter's name. It learned my nephew's name. It figured out we didn't eat sugar during the week. Like it started just realizing things about me. And at one point I asked it, like, "Tell me about Kashmir Hill." And it said, she's a technology journalist. She likes doing first person experiments. Right now she's doing an experiment where she's living with generative AI and outsourcing her decision making to it. And I kind of freaked out. And I had my husband ask the same question because I was like, "Has this leaked out into what's known about me?" And he said no, but the program had figured out that I was Kashmir Hill, even though I had not said that. So that was kind of a surprise to me.
One of the things your story gets at is that these systems often steer you toward the median or the average outcome, right? I think you sort of write that they risk flattening us out. At the same time, there are a lot of tasks I'm really bad at, and if I could be brought up to the median easily, like that would be great for me. So I'm curious, as you did this experiment, was this sort of relentless push toward the average? Were there moments where it was particularly good for you, and were there moments where it was particularly annoying?
I started feeling very boring by the end of the week. I just felt like all of my decisions were so basic and so average. I had it decide my haircut, and it chose kind of, I mean, you guys can kind of see it, but like a textured bob. It's just like a really basic haircut. And I was talking to Amanda Askell, philosopher, Anthropic, and she was like, "Yeah, AI would never choose my haircut." And she had this really cool like baby bangs and like a mullet. My clothes, like AI hated all my clothes, and it told me to go to J. Crew and buy this like a tank top and these big jeans. That I shared the photo of the outfit with my colleagues, some of my stylish colleagues here at the Times, and they were just like, "You look like you fell out of the 90s. You look like you bought the mannequin set." Like it was very flattening. And the kind of overall effect was that it turned me into a basic B.
Yeah, that's interesting. I almost wonder if there is going to have to be a setting at some point where you can say, like, "Do not make me the statistical average of everyone in my demographic cohort. Like let's break out a little bit here."
Wait, so
But
Kevin, you're just going to tell ChatGPT like, "Oh, and before you answer, you should know that I'm cool."
Yeah, don't make me look like one of those lame dads. Make me a cool dad.
Please make me interesting.
Well, when AI can help with that, it will truly be AGI. So talk about some other ways that you were able to have AI act on your behalf.
Well, I tried kind of like creating AI self. So I cloned my voice using 11 Labs, and I'm reading Harry Potter to my kids. And so I was kind of excited about this because we're in book 4, and book 4 is so long. The chapters are so long. And I was like, this is great. I'll have my AI voice, read Harry Potter to my kids. But it like immediately got flagged for copyright violations. I I created a video avatar of myself using Synthesia, where I just read a script into my laptop camera, and it made this fairly convincing avatar of me. And the person I talked to there said, you can have it like create TikToks for you. It can create messages for you. All you have to do is give it a PDF of your article and upload it, and it'll like create. And I was like, this is great because I'm terrible at TikTok. Not good. Sorry to everyone watching YouTube. Like, I'm not good at video. And so I was really excited that this would just make TikToks for me. And then it was a horrible. I look crazy. I have crazy eyes. It got, I don't know, 100 views. Like it didn't work. I used it to send a message to my mom, and she was horrified. So AI being me didn't go down that well.
I will say I've seen a lot of creators on TikTok who have crazy eyes, and that seems to go really well for them. So you might just want to try making a few more videos.
Make the eyes crazier this time.
Yeah.
So you've done this experiment now. You've written about it. It's a great story. Do you think this is going to be something that you do long term? Are there more kinds of decisions or daily activities that you are planning to turn over to AI?
I mean, honestly, the reason I did this is I was very curious about generative AI, and I just hadn't used it that much. And, we're spending billions of dollars on this. We're revamping our energy grid basically to support further training and use of generative AI. And I was just wondering, like, how much is it going to help us? How is it going to change society? How is it going to change us? And I came away from the week being like, meh, like, it was fine. It was helpful in certain scenarios. I think the way that I'll keep using it is taking photos of problems around my house and getting advice for what to do. I think it's like a really, really powerful and more efficient Google search.
Hmm.
Can I make a suggestion?
Yes.
I would be curious if going forward, you try to use these generative AI tools a little bit more like a coach than an executive. So if there's like a skill that you're learning or something that you're working on in your life, these generative chatbots can be these journals that talk back to you. Over the past few weeks, I've been playing around with meditating, something that I am just an utter novice at. And while I haven't been giving over decision-making authority to Claude, which is what I've been using, I have been getting all sorts of ideas from it. And then, like, when something goes wrong, I'm like, this thing went wrong. It's like, oh, look, you might want to try this. Or if something goes right, they're like, great, here's how you can build on that. And so I am finding that this chatbot is actually like giving me this incredible meditation coach experience that still lets me do all the decision making, but manages to fill in a lot of blanks for me.
Yeah, I talked to this one AI kind of influencer type, and she said that she uses it as a business coach, and she tells it like, I want to tell you about my business, and I want you to apply the 80-20 rule to it, and you tell me what I should be doing. And I can see how that can be useful. I guess just in my career of covering technology tools, I do think that once we kind of adopt a new technology, we do tend to get overly reliant on it. Like Google Maps means that you can go anywhere in the world and figure out how to get around, but you don't know how to get around your own neighborhood anymore. Google search, we've kind of search tools, we've outsourced kind of memory and fact recall to these search engines. And so part of why I did this experiment was, exaggerating it a bit. Like, at what point will we kind of stop making decisions on our own because we assume that these tools are better than us or know us better or have access to more information, which they certainly do. And so I was kind of playing around with that. But I will take your advice, Casey. Maybe I'll have it coach me to be, I don't know, a better, more interesting parent, or I don't know, I'll have to figure out what I need help with.
Yeah. I mean, your experiment really highlighted something that I've been thinking a lot about, which is the sort of value of taste in a world with lots of AI assistants running around doing various tasks on our behalf. It just strikes me from reading what you wrote that the sort of flattening effect is just about taste. It's about like letting a machine do things not just because they're annoying tasks that you have to do, but really things that go to the core of like your personality, your values, your the choices about how you live your life. And I worry too that people are going to outsource not only their day-to-day tasks to AI, but also their taste. And I think that it's going to be people with sort of distinctive personal taste who know what they like and know what to ask these AIs to do for them are going to just have a big leg up on people who just say, well, I'll just go with whatever the AI says.
Well, Kevin, what does that mean for you as a person with no taste?
Yeah, I'm screwed. But you guys will be fine.
No, I do think they were useful tools, and I'll continue to use them. But yeah, I don't think I'll outsource my decision making anymore. But it didn't do a bad job. Like nothing went terribly wrong during the week. It made basically good decisions for me. I encountered a few hallucinations, but not on anything major.
What were the kinds of hallucinations you encountered?
The funniest thing, the most lasting hallucination is that my daughter asked it, what's the difference between your middle finger up and your middle finger with your thumb up? And it said, the middle finger alone is a rude gesture. The middle finger combined with the thumb is a friendly gesture that means chill out. So my daughter enjoys telling me to chill out all the time now. It hallucinated it. It was the shaka, with like the pinky. So thanks a lot for that one, ChatGPT.
Now, did the AIs ever try to break up your marriage? Because that is something that they have been known to do on occasion.
No, so it told me to be nice to my mother-in-law, and generally I said I think made me a better wife. The interesting thing about the AI is that it did feel like it was built in, that it wanted to improve me. Like it felt a little bit like a self-improvement tool. And so it was telling me to dress up at night, like wear a little bit of makeup. So I kind of felt like I was my best self in a way. I mean, I was going to yoga every day, cooking meals. I think my husband liked me a lot that week. And it wasn't telling me to break up with him or end my marriage.
You became the AI turned you into the Apple executive in every new iPhone launch who's just constantly surfing or preparing a healthy meal in their kitchen, or doing some remodeling on their beautiful house.
Yeah, I feel like when these companies scrape the web, they kind of over-index on like wellness influencers or something, because that felt like the life I was leading.
I mean, the gender dynamic there is interesting, though, right? Like, presumably these chatbots aren't telling husbands to like dress up for their wives when they get home and make sure that their nails are well groomed and their hair looks good.
I don't know. I have to have my husband do this experiment and see what it has him do.
Casey, I thought that's why you dress up for the show every week, because the AI told you to look good for me.
I just know. I try to look good for you because I think that's what you would want from me, Kevin.
Okay, well, I appreciate that. I've just been using this stuff for almost 2 years at this point, and so I now it's become like a first line activity for me. Like when I'm presented with a situation where I have to make a decision, I almost instinctively go to AI now. So like it's open enrollment this week at the New York Times Company. And so I was trying to choose, do I get vision insurance? Is it worth it? Should I do this dental plan or this dental plan? And so I just found myself almost instinctively like just uploading all of the documents about all these plans to an AI program and asking them to like help me think through this. And obviously there are places where these tools should not be used. But for these kind of daily tasks and just things that pop into your head that you want an answer to, I have found them incredibly useful.
I mean, it does feel to me like these are the kinds of questions we would have asked Google before. Like, should I get vision insurance? What's the best way to meditate? Like, give me good resources for working out. And yeah, I just think that these AI assistants work really well for those kinds of searches, and just the ability that you can give so much more, that you can upload our health plan documents. yeah, I think it's really powerful in those cases.
You know what I think it is that you're right. These are just next generation Google searches. With Google searches, there was always a point of friction, though, which is you would have a point of curiosity, but you would know that in order to get the answer you wanted, for the most part, you were going to have to read another web page, maybe 2 or 3 web pages. The chatbots really lower that friction. You know, I was driving down the freeway yesterday, and I saw a building for Easter seals, and I remember that was a charity, but I could not for the life of me remember how did they get the name Easter seals. I just popped open Claude, and I just typed Easter seals name origin, and boom, I had it instantly. I was on my way to a funeral today. It was a Catholic mass. I was like, what are all the things that actually happened during a Catholic mass? I opened up voice mode on ChatGPT on my phone, and it told us all of that. Again, all of that information was on Google to be found, but we knew that with these chatbots, we would just get the answer right away. And so that winds up, and so you wind up making more searches, and I think you wind up being more satisfied with the result.
I want to pose a question to both of you. I think we all assume that AI will continue to sort of get better over time. But I wonder if in this one specific use case of like having AI advise you on decisions day to day, like it might actually not get better and it might actually get worse, in part because I think it's a pretty good bet that as companies realize, oh, people are basing their decisions about what groceries to buy, what clothes to buy, where to go to dinner on what these chatbots say, they will have already started to, in some cases, try to sort of game the system to make it so that their restaurant, their clothing brand pops up before their competitors. And so what we will see over time is that just in the way that sort of Google search got sort of infiltrated by all of these sponsored links and results, we will start to see the AIs steering us in directions that reflect not what they actually think we want, but what some advertiser has paid them to say.
Yeah, I was thinking about this because this didn't make it into the story, but I had the assistants decide where we went for a family vacation, and they sent us to a nearby town in a really, really, really expensive hotel. And when I was there, we ran into somebody we knew, and they're like, wow, why did they send you there? Like, that's the fanciest hotel in town. And I was trying to figure out, I talked to some researchers who have looked at this kind of search engine, they call it generative engine optimization, and the ability to affect what these chatbots are kind of recommending. And I said, hey, did this like hotel manage to make its way into the top? And it was like, no, they just have good reviews. But yeah, I mean, part of why I've found these more helpful than a Google search is that, yeah, Google search is a bit broken. And I do wonder if if more people start using these, if there'll be a kind of corruption of the answers you get and it won't feel as pure, or if they can counter program against that. But the researchers I talked to, they did some research and they were able to manipulate the answers that some of the bots were giving.
I think it's definitely going to happen, but I would note that we do have pretty powerful open source models, and that was not really true in the Google era, right? There wasn't a really powerful open source search engine that you could use with no advertising in it. And I wonder if that will be a kind of counterbalance against the worst impulses of some of these companies, just knowing that if they really loaded down their chatbots with ads, people would have alternatives.
All right. Well, Cash, thanks so much for coming on. Really interesting experiment, and I'm glad to have the organic you back.
Good to be back.
Hey, that's the end of this clip. If you liked what you saw, head on over to our page and subscribe, and you can get the full podcast. We do a show like this almost every week on tech and the future. Head on over there now and subscribe.